Welcome to Never Vegan. I'm Josh. I play guitar loud and I eat meat. Today we discuss the 3 pillars for optimal health. Number 1, cutting carbs. So this is 80% of what I do and what I consider to be the optimal lifestyle. It all kind of started when people asked me, I had to formulate these ideas. People asked me how I was losing weight. I would go to class reunions and people in my age group, as I mentioned before, I'm 48 years old, and it's really hitting people in my age group very strongly. They're starting to all gain weight, get much fatter, not look great, not feel great. People asked me how I was keeping weight off or how I had lost weight, so I had to kind of formulate these things that I do. So in the next couple of videos, I'm going to go through the 3 pillars for optimal health. And as I said, number 1 is cutting carbs. And ever since I've been a kid in the 70s, I've been alive during this whole low-fat movement. The government, the USDA, everybody, it was just understood that fat was demonized. Fat was bad for you. Everything fat needed to be cut out. And that's I've discovered since I've been red pilled and have been woke that that's bullshit. Animal fats are great for you. I remember my grandfather back in the mid 80s had heart issues, and his doctor said get rid of the butter and put him on margarine. I mean, can you imagine a worse thing to do now? The butter was one of the only good things in his diet besides the meat that he was eating. To switch that for margarine is just criminal looking back. So now that I've realized that fats are to be not demonized, but praised and included heavily in your diet along with protein and red meat, that's kind of the message here. But on the opposite end of that, the standard American diet and what I used to consume was carb intense, very heavily carbs, processed, horrible grains, sugars, candy, everything horrible you can imagine that was high in carbs. I ate it. So, and despite these government recommendations of low fat, diabetes, heart disease, obesity are all skyrocketing in that same time period that they've been making these recommendations. That right there is enough to tell you it's bullshit. And there's many people smarter than me that have laid out the scientific reasons for this. I won't go into it, nor do I have the ability to. But check out Gary Taubes, Good Calories, Bad Calories. That was what was the light bulb moment for me, and contains a lot of great scientific research on why carbohydrates and sugar are just bad for you, and there's nothing good about it. What I've learned from many people in the carnivore movement is that carbs and sugar are not needed by your body at all. They're just craved by you like an addict. And that's how you really have to think of this. Things that are essential are protein and fat. So you want to concentrate on those items. And why would you put something in your body that isn't positively helping your health situation? It's just for pure pleasure. It's just an addiction. And once you start looking at food as nutrition rather than something that's for pleasure, you can enjoy eating. I love eating meat. I love eating ribeyes, ground beef, but it's not as hyper palatable, as Gary Taubes calls it, as sugar and candy. I mean, unfortunately, those are fucking good, right? They taste amazing, and you get that dopamine rush when you're eating sugar and ice cream and things. That's really what you're chasing. And I was super addicted to carbs, sugar in all forms. So once I learned that they were bad for me, I started treating them like nicotine or cigarettes. So rather than, I'll just cut back on my cigarette consumption from 2 packs a day to 1 pack a day, I think if you think of ice cream and candy and donuts and pizza as cigarettes, why would you put any in your body? That's not ideal. And once you start to frame it that way, it seems better. At least for me, that's how I can understand it. Also, for me, carbs are completely my trigger for weight gain. If I'm not eating carbs, I'm dropping weight. And if I'm eating carbs, I'm gaining weight. I think many people would realize the same results. Also, carbs, they waken the beast of hunger. When I eat red meat and fatty meats, I am easily satiated and don't have to keep eating all day long. I can get into one meal a day, which we'll talk about in our next video, which is one of the other pillars of optimal health for me. And if I eat carbs, I just want to be snacking all day long and just stuffing shit down my face. No thanks. So, and also I understand that for myself, an addictive personality runs into my family as well as diabetes. My father is in the beginning stages of diabetes, pre-diabetic. My aunt is fully diabetic. I have a lot of incentive to want to avoid that condition. And, my dad's not overweight by any means, never was. So you can be skinny and still have diabetes. So I need to change my diet and my lifestyle to avoid that completely. And I understand that addictive personality is there. So for me, it's best just to abstain. I've taken the same approach with drinking and smoking as well, just avoided completely. So I know there's some people that can eat 1 cup of ice cream or 1 candy bar a day or something and not awaken the beast. But for me, I know that's not possible. So I've just had to curtail that and abstain completely. And, to each their own, and you have to figure out what works for you. If you're somebody that can moderate, go for it. Now, does this suck? Yes, it does suck. I still crave carbs in all forms, but guess what? Don't be a pussy. Tough it out. For me, my health and weight gain and everything else is too important for me to give into that. So do I fuck up? Yes, I do. And you have to look at it almost like AA. What would AA tell you if you screwed up and drank a 6-pack of beer? They would say, well, start over tomorrow again, you're sober again. So if I fuck up and eat pizza or consume carbs in any form, back on the horse the next day, right? Back at it. And you also have to be aware of the consequences of this to how you feel. For me, when I consume carbs after having abstained, I feel sluggish, brain fog returns, body aches return, all types of inflammatory results happen. I get sinus inflammation, my eyes are watering, I'm sniffling all the time, and my weight starts to go up, that day pretty much. I weigh myself every day because I'm currently trying to get down to my target weight, and I'll immediately start to gain weight. So for me, I have to treat it like AA. If I screw up and consume carbs, back on the horse the next day, right back at it. Sorry, that's just the way it is, and that's the unfortunate reality. And if that is the way it is for you, sorry, I get it, but don't be a pussy. You got to tough it out. So bottom line, cut the carbs, and that's 80% of the trick. If you can do that, if you can tough it out, that's one of the 3 pillars of optimal health for me. We'll discuss the other 2 in upcoming videos. Thanks for your attention. To help resist the cult of vegan oppression, please visit patreon.com/nevervegan.